what's the issue you have? Because a lot of people say you have issues with Pastor Enenche. I mean, is there any problem?
I don't have any issues with him. I was teaching years ago in a ministers' conference.
Yes.
And I was teaching the pastors, and I told them an illustration. I used Enenche's illustration, how that he used to be under me, working in my branch church in Jos.
Yes.
Under Reverend Joshua Talena.
Oh, he's your boy?
Yes, under Reverend Joshua Talena, actually.
Wow.
Joshua Talena is my boy. He grew up under me with Paul Odola and all of them. And then I was giving the illustration of how he wanted to go into ministry.
Okay.
But he decided to go to the UK for for master's degree with his wife.
Okay.
But they didn't know anybody in London.
Okay.
Now, Becky's mother, the wife's mother, was the treasurer of our church in Jos for years, her mother. In fact, we played a role in making the mother allow them get married because there was a little opposition. And I know I spoke to the mother personally, but that by the side. So I was giving this illustration of how he came to me and he said, if I have people in the UK that can give him scholarship, him and his wife want to go and read masters, so that when they come back from the UK, they can start medical missions from village to village and all of that. So I told him, okay, they gave me the letters. I still have copies of the letters. So I said, okay, I'll pray about it and I'll talk to you guys. I gave them my guest house, they stayed. My guest room, they stayed. I prayed that night. And in the morning, the Spirit of God spoke to me that no, he shouldn't go to London. He should go and start ministry now. And I woke up in the morning and I called him and the wife and I told them and I prayed for them. And he said to me, but he doesn't know where to go. And I said, I hear Abuja in my mind. Pray about it. And he said, okay, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. And I told him, when you get to Abuja, when you get to Jos, go to Abuja, arrive early in the morning. Just do evangelism on the streets. As you begin to preach, you will come across somebody who will receive the gospel and give you a place to stay. And exactly like I said, it happened. So I was giving that illustration and I mentioned all of that. Then after a few years, I began to hear that they were saying that I didn't ordain Paul Enenche, that Paul Enenche doesn't know me, that I'm envious is because his church is bigger than mine. That's why I'm trying to identify with him by force. And all those talks began to come out. And then people started asking those questions again. And I said, I have nothing to benefit in saying I used to know Paul Enenche. I ordained him in February 1996 in Uyo Power City on the 7th.
Oh, wow.
7th February 1996. The guest speaker that preached that day before I ordained him is Archbishop Isaac Idahosa.
Wow.
Who was the vice presidential candidate of NNPP. He preached that day. Panampesi Paul sang.
Wow.
With his team. Aide was there. Tom Moses was there. They sang before I ordained him. So it was not done at the back. It was done right in front of people. There are members in my church today who were there when it happened. Lawyers, doctors, they were all there on that day in February 1996. And then he went to Abuja and started the church. And when the church was to move into Sheraton, because they had a guy called Adamu who received Enenche, gave him a place to stay in Abuja. His name is Adamu. And this Adamu of a guy sponsored for them to move into Sheraton because the parlor they were using was no more enough. So when they moved into Sheraton and got the smallest room in Sheraton that takes 80 people, he called me to come and preach. I went to Mina to preach for somebody. I had to come back to Abuja to come and preach for him. And on my way, I took Archbishop John Praise and Bishop Jonas Katung. They are ministers, they are still alive. They came with me and I preached for him in that 18 people service. Then after that, we arranged a conference where I went to Abuja in 1997, January. And I preached. And after the preaching, Archbishop Idahosa was with me. Archbishop started telling them, all of you need to come to Uyo for Power Word Convention in February. Because then all the people that submit to me spiritually, when I'm doing my convention, they come from all with their church members to attend. You understand? So when they began to say that I didn't ordain him and all kinds of things began to fly, I just went to my archives and I pulled out the first video and I threw it out. Videos don't lie. And I have others. But I didn't want to get to that level.
Did he say you did or he said you didn't?
He has not said I did or I didn't. But his friend Ibiome in Port Harcourt said I lied, I'm a thief. They say I'm a rat. That rats don't give birth to giants. And so last Sunday I said to them, and they forget that it's a small David with stone that killed the giant Goliath. I have nothing to benefit from that story other than putting the record straight.
What's the issue with Ibiome that you have? Because for him to have replied like that, it seems he's really angry at you.
Maybe the tithe, the transactionary gospel. I have many enemies now because of that.
Yeah.
But I have no worries. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I just need to put the record straight so everybody will see what is there and what is not there.
Do you think they are angry? Ibiome and the rest of them, much respect to him and plenty other pastors. Do you think that most of them that are visibly angry and it's coming out on social media, which everybody's saying, do you think they are angry because they think you are spoiling the gospel, because they believe that, oh, how can he be fighting
when
the body of Christ?
That gospel, that I was a master in that gospel. Some of them is my template they are using.
Yes, because there are videos of you saying that if you don't pay your tithes, divorce will come for you.
I was Baba. That gospel. Most of them is from me. They learned. When I started ministry, Ibiome had not become born again. He had not been born again when I started. He was still in Sele.
He's a Celestial Church?
Yes, he's from Sele. Okay? That's what they alleged. But when I started ministry, I had not come into the kingdom. I started ministry in 1984. 1984 was when I started preaching. Not born again.
Oh, you can be preaching and not be born again?
No, he was born again before.
That is, I wasn't born again in 1984. I was preaching gospel in 1984.
Okay.
So it's not today. It's not today.
So when did this change? Did your format cast?